Hey everyone, remember Kodak? I mean, how could you forget, right? Back in 1997, they were like the kings and queens of photography. 160,000 employees, practically running the entire show. 85% of all the photos in the world, Kodak moments they called them. But then something kind of crazy happened. Remember those clunky cell phones that could barely make a call? Yeah, those things learned to take pictures. And not just any pictures, pretty darn good pictures. Fast forward a few years and Kodak, the once mighty Kodak, is gone. Bankrupt. Kaput. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other giants are out there just waiting for the ground to shift beneath them? Let's hop on a plane and head over to India, a place I'm lucky enough to call one of my favorite places on Earth. Now, if you grew up in India a few decades back, chances are you had an HMT watch strapped to your wrist. HMT was more than just a watch. It was a symbol of pride, a trusty companion. It was the kind of watch your grandfather swore by, the kind your dad got for his graduation, the kind you hope to pass down to your own kids. It was built to last, reliable as the sunrise. But then something interesting happened. The world went digital. Quartz watches became the cool kids on the block, sleek, accurate, and oh so modern. HMT, with its mechanical heart, suddenly seemed a little old-fashioned. They tried to adapt, they really did, but it was like trying to teach a dinosaur to fly. The world had moved on, and sadly, HMT just couldn't keep up. Okay, back to India for this one because frankly, there are just too many fascinating stories here. Let's talk about Bajaj, specifically the Bajaj scooter. Picture this, a sea of brightly colored scooters zipping through bustling streets, weaving in and out of traffic like a choreographed dance. That was India in the 80s and 90s, and the Bajaj scooter was the star of the show. It was affordable, it was reliable, it was practically a member of the family. But then something changed. The winds of change, they have a way of doing that, don't they? The Indian economy opened up and suddenly foreign motorcycles came roaring onto the scene. Sleek Japanese bikes, powerful American cruisers, they were like nothing India had seen before. Bajaj, with its trusty but somewhat outdated scooter, faced a dilemma. They could stick to their tried and true formula, or they could try to reinvent themselves for a new generation. They tried, they really did, but the magic just wasn't quite there. The Bajaj scooter, once a symbol of Indian ingenuity, slowly faded into the background, a nostalgic reminder of a bygone era. Remember gathering around the television on a Friday night, the whole family huddled together, waiting for your favorite show to start? Back in the day, Dayanora was the king of those family moments in India. Those big boxy TVs with their rabbit ear antennas were a fixture in living rooms across the country. Dayanora was synonymous with quality, with reliability, with those shared moments that brought families closer. But then, as it always seems to happen, the world started to change. The internet happened. Suddenly, we weren't just watching TV shows, we were streaming them, downloading them, watching them on our phones and laptops. Dayanora, with its focus on traditional television sets, found itself at a crossroads. The world was moving towards a digital, on-demand future, and the trusty old TV was starting to feel a bit like a dinosaur. They tried to adapt, they really did, but it's tough to change the course of a ship that big, that fast. Dayanora, the once mighty king of the living room, slowly began to fade from view, a victim of the digital revolution. Chapter 4. Murphy Radio, the sound of silence. Imagine this. It's a lazy Sunday afternoon, the smell of your mom's cooking and the soothing voice of a radio announcer. That was the sound of Murphy Radio, filling homes across India. Murphy wasn't just a radio, it was a portal to the world. People gathered around to listen to news, cricket, and Bollywood songs. But then, the Walkman happened. Music became personal, portable. You could carry your favorite tunes anywhere. And then came the internet, a real game changer. With music at your fingertips, the humble radio felt quaint. The world moves on, technology evolves, and traditions are left behind. Chapter 5. Nokia connecting people, then disconnecting. All right, let's talk about a company that needs no introduction. A company that was once synonymous with mobile phones, Nokia. Remember the Nokia ringtone? That iconic tune was practically the soundtrack to the early 2000s. Nokia phones were everywhere. They were indestructible, reliable, and they had that snake game, which, let's be honest, was the peak of mobile gaming. But then, as the tech world tends to do, things started to change. Remember those clunky PDAs that people used to carry around? Yeah, those things got a whole lot smarter. The iPhone happened. Suddenly, phones weren't just for making calls and playing Snake. They were mini computers in your pocket. Touchscreens, apps, the whole shebang. Nokia, with its focus on hardware and that trusty old operating system, found itself playing catch-up in a world that was moving at warp speed. They tried to adapt, they really did, but it was like trying to outrun a meteor. The world had gone smartphone crazy, and Nokia, the once mighty king of the mobile phone, was left behind. Chapter 6. Rajdoot, the rugged ride that lost its way. Let's hop back to India for this one because, well, motorcycles. The Rajdoot motorcycle. This wasn't just a bike, it was a symbol of freedom, of adventure, of rugged individualism. Imagine yourself cruising down an open road, the wind in your hair, the roar of the engine filling your ears. That was the Rajdoot experience. It was a bike built for Indian roads, tough, durable, and relatively easy to fix, which was important in a time when mechanics were few and far between. But as India itself began to change, so too did the demands of its riders. New highways were built, cities grew larger, and people wanted more from their motorcycles. They wanted speed, they wanted style, they wanted comfort, and Rajdoot, with its focus on simplicity and durability, struggled to keep up. It's like that old saying, adapt or die. Rajdoot sadly found itself on the wrong side of that equation. The once mighty king of the Indian road slowly faded into the rearview mirror, a reminder that even the most iconic brands can fall victim to the relentless march of progress. Chapter 7. Ambassador. A farewell to the Queen's Road. The Hindustan Ambassador was more than just a car. It was a status symbol, a legend, a piece of Indian history. This car was everywhere in India, from small towns to Mumbai and Delhi. Politicians loved it, Bollywood stars rode in it, and for many families, owning an Ambassador was a sign that you had arrived. It was big, sturdy, built like a tank. But foreign cars entered the market, and the Ambassador couldn't keep up. The world moved on, and the Ambassador slowly drove off into the sunset. Chapter 8. Uber, the ride-sharing revolution. This is where things get really interesting because now we're not talking about a company that fell victim to change. We're talking about a company the change. Uber. You know them, you've probably used them, and you've definitely heard the stories. Here's the thing about Uber that blows my mind. They're the world's largest taxi company, yet they don't own a single car. Let that sink in for a second. They're a software company, a tech giant, a transportation revolution all rolled into one. Uber took an industry that was ripe for disruption, the often frustrating, often expensive world of taxis, and turned it on its head. They used technology to connect riders and drivers directly, cutting out the middleman, and in the process, they created a whole new way to get around. Love them or hate them, you can't deny that Uber has changed the game. They're a prime example of how quickly things can change in the digital age, how a simple idea, powered by technology, can disrupt entire industries. Outrow, the future is now. So here we are, standing on the precipice of, well, everything. It's kind of dizzying when you think about it, how fast the world is changing. 10 years ago, did anyone really see Uber coming? Did anyone predict that we'd all be carrying around mini computers in our pockets, capable of doing pretty much anything? The truth is, the future is closer than we think, and it's being shaped by technology in ways we can barely imagine. The jobs of today might not even exist in a decade. Cars will drive themselves, robots will perform surgeries, and who knows what other mind-blowing innovations are just around the corner. It's a little bit scary, a little bit exciting, and a whole lot of unknown. But one thing's for sure, we're living in a time of unprecedented change, and the companies, the people, the ideas that embrace that change, well, they're the ones who are going to write the future. Don't forget to subscribe to @STV_tutorials for more insights and updates.